The drop pod tore through the jungle canopy like a meteor, snapping trees and igniting brush in its wake. Metal groaned, friction screamed, and the final impact sent a quake through the mossy floor. Steam hissed from fractured vents as the pod settled, smoking like a dying beast. Inside, Rhys Maddox exhaled. His eyes adjusted instantly to the red emergency glow. "Time to clock in," he muttered. The restraints hissed and released. He stepped out barefoot onto wet soil, flexing scarred hands. Around him, the air shimmered with the hum of predatory life. Insects the size of his fist buzzed past, and strange lizard-like creatures watched from twisted branches. Rhys didn't flinch. He scanned the tree line. No eyes. Yet. 6 clicks west, Vortin Grawl tightened his gauntlet and looked through his thermal scanner. His 4 fellow hunters, each from species feared across 3 sectors, stood silent and focused. His voice cut through the static. "Target is human. Maddox. Terran Spec Recon, Ghost Division. They say he vanished after Earth pulled from the Confederacy." One of the hunters, a Zereth with glowing veins, clicked its mandibles. "A ghost? Not anymore." Vortin grinned. "Now he's prey." Rhys crouched beside his shattered pod and stripped the lining from the inner walls. The padding was military surplus, carbon mesh, fire-resistant. Good. He used it to wrap his bare feet. Quiet steps mattered. He broke apart the seat panel and retrieved a hidden blade, 12 inches, serrated, still slick with blood from another time. The first trap came next, a tension wire rigged between 2 springroot trees. He smeared the bark with his own blood and added scorched fragments of his shirt to lure them. They needed to believe he was bleeding, limping, wounded. Let them come. Minutes passed. Then, a whisper in the wind. A shift. Rhys ducked. A pulse blast vaporized the air inches above his skull. He didn't run. He rolled sideways and vanished into the undergrowth. The hunter who fired, sleek, tall, draped in reactive camo, moved in silently, stepping over roots. She was fast. Silent. Precise. She didn't see the wire. Whip crack. Her own momentum snapped her into a sharpened branch, piercing her armor at the ribs. The pulse rifle fell. She gasped, a wet, surprised sound, then collapsed into silence. Rhys didn't even look back. "One down," he whispered. "Thanks for the rifle." He hoisted the weapon and sprinted deeper into the jungle. Vortin's comm sparked. "Unit 3? Do you copy? Respond." Static. The Zereth twitched nervously. "She was elite. She was careless," Vortin said coldly. "This isn't war. It's hunting." 2 hours in. The jungle grew thicker. Bioluminescent fungi lit the ground in sickly blue patches. Rhys ducked into a hollowed-out log and checked the weapon. Plasma core 87%, 1 overload grenade clipped to the side. Useful. He pressed 2 fingers to the side of his neck. A makeshift pulse scanner embedded under the skin lit up. 3 moving signatures. 400 meters. Coordinated spread. They were tightening the net. He smirked. "I hope they brought body bags." The second trap was meaner. A freshly killed jungle rabbit, gutted and hung with vines, just under a moss-covered ridge. Rhys rigged the kill zone with pressure-activated spikes sharpened from shuttle struts. He even added the scent mask, crushed local herbs to overwhelm alien senses. He backed away. Waited. The second hunter, bulkier, armored, and less patient, moved in for the prize. Snap. Crunch. The shriek that followed was short, cut off by the sound of metal puncturing flesh. 2 down. Rhys didn't stay to admire his work. Back at the hunter's mobile uplink, Vortin stared at the tracking display. Only 3 signals remained. He slammed his fist against the console. "He's not running. He's baiting us." "Impossible," hissed the 4th hunter, a Scythian with thermal vision. "He was unarmed." "He's human," Vortin said. "Unarmed is a suggestion to them." Rhys climbed a tree. The trunk was slick, riddled with moss, but he moved like he'd done it 1,000 times. From the canopy, the view cleared, A path of disturbed foliage pointed north. That's where they expected him to go. He went east. Always sideways. Never straight. Never predictable. From above, he spotted one of the remaining hunters kneeling near the second corpse. He couldn't help it. "Hey!" he shouted down. The alien jerked upright, eyes scanning wildly. "Wrong place to kneel," Reese added, and fired the plasma rifle into the explosive vines he'd wrapped near the kill zone. Boom! The shockwave sent birds screaming from the trees. Flames licked the edges of the forest. 3 down. Hours passed. The jungle burned behind him in places, but he kept moving, low, quick, smart. Night came fast on Yelthra 7. And with it, silence. Reese found a rocky outcrop, high ground, and took a moment. Cleaned the blade. Cleaned the rifle. Ate something bitter and glowing. He carved a word into the stone wall behind him with the knife's edge. "Run!" Then he stared into the dark and whispered, "I'm not done yet." The rain came just after midnight, thin, cold, and almost silent. It turned the soil to slick mud, masked scents, and muffled movement. Good. Reese preferred it this way. He moved through the underbrush like smoke, avoiding moonlit patches. The plasma rifle was slung across his back. In his hands the blade. He didn't want noise for the next one. Half a click north, the Scythian crouched, visor pulsing red. He didn't speak like the others. Didn't mock. He hunted with silence, trusting thermal optics and instinct sharpened across years of clean kills. But Reese wasn't warm anymore. He had cooled himself deliberately, rubbed his body in crushed myrax root sap, naturally cold to the touch. It dropped his heat signature below detectable range. In the Scythian's view, Reese was gone. Just a blank patch of terrain. That illusion ended when a sharp edge whispered across alien skin. "You hunt heat," Reese said softly behind him. "Too bad I'm ice." The blade slipped in under the creature's ribs before it could cry out. Reese lowered the body gently, no sound, no splash. 2 left. At base camp, Vorton stared at the shrinking map with clenched teeth. The dot representing the Scythian blinked once, then flatlined. "That's 3, he said aloud, voice like stone. The Zareth paced beside him, antenna twitching. Her voice buzzed through thick fangs. "He's not human. He's something else. He's trained. Conditioned. But still mortal. Mortals don't do this." Vorton didn't answer. He pressed his fingers into the comms panel and broadcast across the local hunter band. "Maddox." No answer. "I want you to know, this ends with your bones under my boots." Deep in the jungle, Reese heard the transmission crackle through the dead Scythian's wrist console. He crouched by the body, eyes half-lidded, lips curled into something between amusement and boredom. He clicked the comms on. "You sure?" he asked. "I don't think you'll be wearing boots when this ends." He cut the line before the reply came. He moved again. Fast now. Controlled speed. The Zareth was the tracker. She used scent, vibration, and sonic pulses. She wasn't easy to fool, not like the others. But she was predictable. She always moved clockwise around obstacles. Always. He used that. At a broken ridge, Reese looped a blood-smeared strip of cloth along one edge. A decoy trail. He moved counterclockwise, then doubled back to lie flat against the slope. Mud covered his torso. Rain disguised his scent. He waited. Minutes passed. Then, she stepped into view. Slow. Cautious. Still following the scent. Her mandibles clicked twice, scanning. Reese didn't move. Not yet. She stepped closer. 3 meters. Closer. 2. Then she stopped. Her antenna twitched toward the bluff. Found why. The blade struck upward through her neck. 1 jab. No warning. She gargled once, stumbled back. Reese twisted the blade, jerked it free. She collapsed in the mud, twitching. Reese stood over her body, breathing steady. Rain slid off his skin. He wiped the blade on her armor. "You were the smart one." He turned to the trees and vanished. One left. Vorten wasn't scared. He was furious. The jungle around him hissed. His helmet scanned for movement, scanning loops faster than regulation allowed. He'd overridden the safety limit. He didn't care. The others had underestimated the Terran. He wouldn't. He opened his pack and injected himself with 2 full stims. Strength. Reflex. Edge. Come on, he muttered. Let's end this. Reese moved through a thicket, eyes on the horizon. He knew the stim rush signs. The last one would be erratic now. Hyper-focused. Prone to mistakes. He found a clearing with elevation on 3 sides, perfect for manipulation. He stripped down a myra tree and crushed its bright yellow pulp into a frothy mixture. Toxic, yes, but also flammable when exposed to oxygen. He rubbed it across his arms and shirt. Then he set 3 shaped charges, rigged to tripwires around the base of the cliff. Vorten would charge in. All rage, no caution. Just like he needed. An hour passed before Vorten entered the trap zone. He saw the silhouette first, Reese, shirt torn, arms slick with jungle blood, standing still. Vorten roared. No tactics. No calculation. He surged forward. Reese didn't move. 5 feet in. Tripwire. Click. 3 detonations. Controlled. Focused. Fire rolled over the clearing like a wave. Vorten screamed, armor scorched, visor cracked. Reese moved through the fire with the blade in one hand and the rifle in the other. The alien staggered. That all you got? Vorten spat, voice distorted, body trembling. Not yet. Reese fired 1 shot into the alien's knee, forcing him down. He stepped forward, slowly, like a man walking through a memory. You called this a hunt? It was. Reese dropped the blade, then punched. 1 blow to the throat. Another to the temple. A third to the cracked visor. Glass shattered. Vorten collapsed. Reese stood over him. Breathing hard now. Next time you want to hunt a human, he whispered, bring an army. He took the alien's comm, rewired the frequency, and patched into the Confederacy network. Broadcast this, he said. He stepped back into the clearing, camera feed live, helmet under his arm. His face, bloodied, dirt-smeared, cold. 5 came for me. 5 won't return. He pointed the lens to the burning jungle. Earth isn't gone. Just quiet. And when we're quiet... He let the silence drag. Then smiled. You should run. Smoke clung to the trees like ghosts. Orange light flickered behind Reese as he stood at the edge of the clearing, face unreadable. The fire consumed the bodies. What wasn't turned to ash would be swallowed by the jungle by morning. He didn't stay to watch. He had no interest in trophies. The last signal on his scanner blinked once, then began to move. The final hunter had seen enough. He wasn't chasing Reese. He was retreating. Reese should have felt relief. He didn't. He felt insulted. He moved through the trees, faster now, familiar with the terrain. Every branch, root, and rock mapped in his head. His senses were sharp. Still, he wasn't reckless. Confidence kills. He stayed low, made no sound, tracked without being seen. The final hunter was using scattertech, advanced noise dampening, signal ghosting, thermal suppression. Impressive. But Reese had once tracked a warlord through the sulfur mines of Europa with just a compass and a broken ankle. Run all you want, he whispered to himself. But the end's not negotiable. An hour passed. The jungle changed. No more insects. No bird calls. Just wind and thick silence. Reese slowed. Something felt off. Then he heard it. Breathing. Not from him. From above. He spun, dropped to one knee, and scanned the canopy. Nothing. But the moment passed too fast for normal eyes. There. A shimmer. Slight movement. He fired once into the trees, missed. Branches exploded in a burst of leaves. Then a figure dropped from above, striking the earth in a crouch. Tall. Cloaked. Unarmored. No weapon visible. Reese didn't raise the rifle. "You're not one of them," he said. The figure straightened, lifting a pale, lined face from beneath the cloak. A long scar ran down the left cheek, ending just above the collarbone. "No." The voice was dry, and surprisingly calm. "I was watching. Confederacy? Once. Not anymore." Reese held his stance, muscles ready. "Why are you here? To see if the stories were true?" The figure looked around the jungle. "They are." Reese didn't respond. He stepped closer, keeping eyes locked. "You're not here for me?" "No. I was here for them. And to know if a human could do what you just did." Reese narrowed his eyes. "You've seen enough. Leave." The figure turned. "Already gone." And just like that, he disappeared into the trees. Reese didn't chase. Didn't trust it. But the forest shifted again, and that old familiar hum in his ears returned, the one that only came before a firefight. He climbed a narrow ridge and found what he'd been hunting. The last signal was stationary. Just ahead. In a natural hollow surrounded by glowing rock formations, tall, spiraling shards that reflected any sound tenfold. Perfect for echoes. He slipped between the stones, keeping low, boots soft on the mossy ground. There. A shadow moved. Not retreating. Waiting. The final hunter stood in the middle of the ring, taller than the others, heavier, armored in black weave armor with a matte finish. His helm clicked and hissed as he adjusted it. Twin plasma axes hung on his back. A quiet giant. This one wasn't afraid. He wanted the final fight. Reese stepped into the open. The hunter turned to face him and said one word through his distorted translator. "Impressive." Reese didn't blink. "You're the cleanup guy. The one they send when everything else fails." The hunter nodded once. "They called me the Butcher of Raxos." "I've heard of you," Reese said. "Didn't think you were real." "Neither did your kind." A pause. Then the hunter reached back and unslung both axes. "No traps. No tricks. Just end it." Reese exhaled. "Deal." They closed the distance in seconds. The first axe came high. Reese ducked, rolled, came up with a slash of his own across the back plate. Sparks flew. The second axe missed his skull by a breath. He sidestepped, jabbed with the blade, caught the hunter's arm. A dent. No blood. The hunter swung wide and caught Reese across the ribs. The impact stole his breath. He dropped, landed hard, teeth gritted. The hunter advanced. Reese rolled, kicked out a leg, sent him stumbling into one of the echo stones. The ring amplified the crash, turning it into a blast. The hunter staggered, disoriented. Reese was on him instantly, blade between the plates under the arm. A lucky gap. The scream was short. The hunter backhanded him, sent him flying. But the damage was done. Both of them paused, bleeding, heaving, staring. "Why keep fighting?" the hunter asked. "You're the last. Your world is forgotten." Reese pushed to his feet. "You think that matters?" The hunter tilted his head. "You'll die alone." Reese smiled for the first time all day. "We all die alone. But I'm taking you with me." He pulled the pin on the overload grenade and hurled it at the hunter's chest. The device latched magnetically. The hunter roared and tore at it, but it was already counting down. "No!" Flash. The explosion was small, but focused, cracking armor, shattering bone. The echo stones amplified it, turned sound into shock. Reese shielded his ears. Blood streamed down his temple. When the dust settled, only one of them stood. Barely. He limped out of the hollow, one arm clutching his ribs. His blade was gone. The rifle dead. But he walked. Because he wasn't finished. Not yet. From the top of the ridge, he looked back, down at the broken body of the last killer. 5 came for 1. His voice echoed. Then he laughed. Not out of joy. But because he was still alive, and they weren't. The sky cracked with faint light. Gray, cold, indifferent. Rain had stopped. The fires had died. All that remained of the battle was the silence, and the bodies. Reese stood over the last corpse, breath sharp, posture rigid. His shirt hung in strips, one eye swollen. Blood clung to his teeth when he spoke. Now they'll listen. He pulled the last working device from the fallen hunter's armor, an encrypted transcom beacon. Military grade. Long range. Capable of punching through even the Confederacy's jammer walls if angled correctly. He staggered to higher ground. A cliff's edge. Wind ripped at his skin, stung his wounds. The jungle stretched far below, scarred, burnt, and still. He fixed the beacon toward the sky, stripped the helmet cam from his own ruined gear, and wired it to the unit's core. A feed opened. A green light blinked. Broadcast active. This is Reese Maddox. Terran Ghost Unit. Yell Thra 7. 5 came. Elite. Trained. Only I remain. He stared into the lens, not with hatred, but with something colder. You thought Earth had no voice. That our silence meant extinction. You were wrong. He shifted the camera to show the battlefield. Burned jungle, shattered armor, alien bodies torn and scattered. You called us unstable. Dangerous. You were right. We don't play by your rules. We don't kneel. And we never run. He cut the feed. Then set the beacon to loop. Every 5 minutes. Every sector frequency. Let them see it. Again. And again. And again. Let it fester. He dropped to one knee. Not from reverence, from exhaustion. His pulse thudded behind his eyes. Every breath burned. He had nothing left in him but a single, razor-sharp purpose. And it had been delivered. Earth's enemies now had faces to match their nightmares. And his was one of them. Footsteps. He rose fast, too fast. Pain lanced through his ribs. He twisted, ready to strike. But the figure that approached was unarmed. Hooded. Familiar. The same watcher from before. Reese didn't lower his fists. You again. I never left. Why? To see the ending. The figure stepped forward, eyes scanning the destruction, voice calm. This will make them afraid. Reese nodded once. Good. And now? The figure asked. Will you leave this place? Reese looked back at the jungle. His war was done. But something deeper rooted itself in him. Not yet. Why? Because they'll come again. And when they do... He clenched his fists, jaw tight. Someone should be waiting. The figure studied him a moment longer. Then reached into his cloak and offered a data shard. Old tech. Not tracked. Coordinates. Not everyone out there agrees with the Confederacy. You'll find allies. If you want them. Reese took it. And if I don't? Then they'll find you eventually. And you'll do this all over again. Reese almost smiled. Not a bad way to go. By midday, the beacon's signal had already been intercepted. Far above, in a warship orbiting a different sector, a monitor lit up with the looped broadcast. A general watched it 3 times. Then stood. Send this to Central Command. Sir, it's not verified. It's Terran. That's verification enough. Hours later, across black space, dozens of systems buzzed with one message. Yell Thra 7, 5 elite hunters dead. 1 human operative alive. Known name, Reese Maddox. Status, ghost. The Confederacy tried to suppress it. Failed. The footage went viral through resistance channels, underground feeds, pirate networks. A new whisper echoed in the stars. The ghost is real. Back on the planet, Reese sat under the ruins of an old alien shrine, half collapsed, overgrown with roots and stone. He cleaned his blade slowly. Methodically. He wasn't a soldier anymore. He was a message. Somewhere out there, Earth still existed. Quiet. Watching. Waiting. Forgotten by choice. Feared again by necessity. Reese didn't know if he'd ever go back. Maybe he couldn't. But as long as he walked, Earth had a shadow. And every planet that dared call humans extinct would remember it. A soft breeze rustled the leaves. The jungle was quiet now. But his laugh still echoed through it. Sharp. Dry. Unforgettable.